The formal definition of an inverse function is when you have two functions, f of x and g of x, and you find the composite functions, so you find the composition of f of g of x, that will end up simplifying to equal x, and then g of f of x also simplifies to equal x. So two things have to happen. If you have inverse functions, f of g of x equals x, and g of f of x equals x. Both of those have to happen. That's an and. That's when you have inverse functions. So then you can change your notation to show, then you can change your notation to show your inverse. So let me highlight that for you. Your inverse notation. It's a pretty cool thing. So the domain of f is the range of f inverse. So you have a function. I'm going to rewrite that here. You have a function. You've got the domain of the function, and you have the range of the function. And the inverse, the range becomes the domain, the range of the function becomes the domain of the inverse, and the domain of the function becomes the range of the inverse. And here are a few examples of a function and its inverse. Now, how you find an inverse is you change your function notation, change f of x to y, swap the x and the y's, solve for y, and then change y back to f inverse of x. Now, this process will show you how to do inverses or find inverses intuitively by working backwards to undo the original function. So for instance, let me show you on this one. This is a great example here for me to show you. So if I wanted to undo, if I wanted to get to that x, what I would end up doing is I would add 5, and then whatever I added 5 to, I would divide it all by 2. Okay, so my new x, I would add 5 to it and then divide by 2. And that's the same thing as 1/2 times the quantity x plus 5. And that's what you see here. Let's try and find the inverses. We'll do it with the checkpoint, and then you can get some practice on your own with the homework. So I'm going to practice those steps. I'm going to change f of x to a y. Then I'm going to swap the x's and the y's. And then I'm going to solve for y. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. And then I'm going to change y to f inverse of x. And f inverse of x is equal to 5x. Let's try again. We're going to change f of x to y. And then I'll swap the x's and the y's. I'm going to solve for y by subtracting 2 from both sides. And then I'm going to divide each term by 3, or how this book did it is they multiplied both sides by 1/3. So they said f inverse of x is equal to 1/3 times the quantity x minus 2. And I'd be willing to bet that that's what they had in the back of the book if this was a homework problem.